What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have Rick here, and we're just gonna do what we've done and sit down and talk shop a little. So, Rick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Rick Kirtley, 67 years old. Was in the military from 72 to 75. Lucky enough to be the commander of the American Legion post in Kuna right now. So
Which branch again?
Army, U.S.
Army.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, we won't hold that against you.
That's nice. I appreciate that.
Awesome. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about like why you joined the Army? What was going through your mind when you were trying to decide, that type of stuff?
I joined the Army because I had a draft number of 17.
Oh.
So
Okay.
that was a big instigator there,
Yeah.
and I just decided I really didn't want to crawl around on my belly in the rice paddy. So I went down, signed up for an extra year, and worked on helicopters for 3 years. So
Nice.
and then of course in '72 Nixon signed the treaty, and I was ready to go. I was in Virginia school, finishing up school, and so I ended up in Korea for a year. So
Sweet.
that was fun. I enjoyed that. That was pretty good.
Now, where were you stationed?
From what time?
First.
First basic training, Fort Ord, California. Fort Eustis, Virginia was AIT, and then I was just out of Seoul, Korea.
Right, so AIT is Advanced Infantry Training School.
Yeah.
For those that don't know what that is. All right.
Yeah, infantry training. I worked on helicopters, so infantry training. But anyway, then I was just south of Seoul in Korea for a year. Come back and was in Fort Hood, Texas for the rest of my time, and then come home.
So I've always been fascinated with like aviation. Like, how was it working on helicopters or with helicopters?
It was a lot of fun. I did sheet metal work on them, so anything, holes or rivets coming loose or stuff like that, we had to. You go out and check them and stuff. You replace stuff. Fasteners on cowlings and different things like that. Floorboards, they were made out of what they call honeycomb material. It was aluminum foil with a stainless steel covering over them, and they'd start to separate. So you'd go drill holes and inject them and stuff like that. So.
Did you just work on like one particular type of helicopter?
I worked on. Worked on a lot of Hueys. I worked on OH-58s, which was a Bell Jet Star Rangers. The base I was at, we also supported fixed wing aircraft. We had Beechcrafts that the generals got to fly around in. Yeah. We worked on those, and then we had a surveillance detachment there. We worked on some Mohawk aircraft too that flew up over by the DMZ and took photographs stuff. So
nice.
Yeah. Then when I was in Texas, then I worked on some Chinooks, some Cobras, and a few things like that.
Oh, very cool. So you said you did how many? 4 years or more?
3.
3? 3 years.
Just 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is one enlistment, absolutely. So.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all dependent. You never know. Back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Just that draft number, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think all three of us have had not ordinary enlistment years.
Oh yeah.
3, 5, and you 20.
23.
23. I mean, those are all numbers that aren't those aren't typical enlistment numbers.
Yeah.
It's usually 4 or 20.
Right, or 24.
Or 24.
Or 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, it depends. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So it's all dependent. Yeah.
Yeah. So where was your favorite place you were? I mean, if you have a favorite place where you were at.
Korea. Yeah, it was because we were just a small detachment, and to support the aircraft there, and there was probably 30 of us from our company that was there. It was pretty cool. We were set up. Break time, everybody go out and play combat volleyball. Get a few broken fingers, and lose a tooth or something. We did that, but everybody knew everybody really well. We all got along, and we had a small village outside the post. Of course, you go out there and drink and have a good time. But it was nice. It was just really nice because you had houseboys in the barracks to come in and pick up your dirty clothes and do your laundry and make your beds, stuff like that. It cost you $20 a month. It was cool.
Wait, you said you were in the Army, not the Air Force.
Yeah. The Air Force is free.
Yeah,
They have people come in and do it for
The
us.
butlers are free.
Yeah, maybe we should call Will up. We could ask him about that.
Yeah.
He might be able to explain that a little better.
Air Force, we go down. We had to go down to our main base was down south, and we went by a big Air Force base, and we always used to try to time it at lunchtime so you could stop off and eat chow at the air base because they always had really good food.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, there's that. You probably saw that meme I posted on.
Yeah,
We were talking about that during meals too.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's like reaction when they eat at the.
Yeah.
That's pretty true. I think it's probably the most truest video for a meme.
Definitely.
Yeah, they had good stuff. They had good food.
So you were down in Seoul, Korea? Is that like in that area?
South of Seoul.
Okay.
We were just kind of out in the sticks. It was we were actually on a Korean Air Force base is what we were on. We were kind of down at one end of it, and the Koreans were down at the other end of it.
Right.
So.
Oh, nice.
How was that working with them? Pretty.
We didn't work with them.
Oh, not at all.
No.
You guys were just.
No, there was. The road comes through, and there's this big fence down at the end of it, and a gate.
Yeah.
And you didn't mess with those people.
Yeah.
Right.
They were.
Oh yeah.
You watch them during inspections. You'd be kind of standing out there, in their platoon sergeant or something would be walking up and down the line, and all of a sudden he'd stop in front of somebody and start screaming at him, and it was pow, frickin' knocking to the ground, and you're going, oh my word, you know, I'm really happy where I'm at, you know. So, but yeah.
Sounds like the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Well, we did it. So I never talked about this on any other thing, but yeah, we did the same thing. We did a demo. We were working with the Rock Marines, the Republic of Korea Rock Marines, and they did a demo for us, and they're doing all the taekwondo and breaking the board stuff. You should probably see like in those things, and they were doing the same thing, and they were doing all their uniforms and boots and all that. And we're like, oh crap, we got to do that. See, so we had to do a McMat demonstration, man, and my buddy Sanders, who's Ricky, if he's listening to this,
shout out to Ricky.
Yeah, shout out to Ricky. But, put that together. We did a whole McMap kind of thing, and it was funny because but they were wearing the sappies and doing the whole and they were going pretty hard. Like they weren't doing 20%, like you do when we train. They went pretty hard on each other. Like it was just the instructors together doing it.
Yeah.
And so he's a retired first sergeant. That me and him go all the way back to Hawaii, and we just know each other since. And
nice.
Great dude,
yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Ricky if you see this. Yeah. I'll tag you in this when we actually get the video done. But yeah, no, same idea, but they were hardcore themselves. It wasn't like they were just out there like kind of halving it like you see here in the United States. These guys were messing each other up just to show that demonstration that stuff worked. And so we're like, okay, well, guess we can't just let them show us up. So, our Marine Corps martial arts instructors, went out there and hooked and jabbed and showed them what's up, and it was pretty good too. And so on both sides, they kind of had a mutual respect from that. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, I can kind of relate to you on that one.
Yeah, and the people, just the Korean people. Well, most of the ones I met were all really nice people.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like when you went into town, what was the reaction while you were there? Like, very.
Well, we did. I only went to Seoul a few times, but we just had there was just a little village right outside where we were, and of course they depended on the base for a lot of money, and they were all really nice, nice people. They just like people downtown here. Walk into an establishment, they'd say hi, talk to you.
Right.
And most all of them spoke pretty good English, which was pretty good. So.
Yeah.
But
it's funny. I went down into Seoul for my Liberty, and it was kind of like they had like the stands on the side.
Oh yeah.
And they had like everything from squid on sticks and you name it. They had all this kind of like very exotic food. I'll call it that. I don't want to insult anybody. I am Asian too, so but like seeing that, I'm like, well, that's kind of I've never seen it like this before. But and so I'm walking around, and I actually met Rob Schneider, the comedian.
Yeah.
In Seoul, Korea.
Wow.
So yeah, he was down there, and there was a huge altercation. One of my Marines decided to assault his bodyguard. Yeah. So it was poor dude too, man, because the guy he was He reminds me of you, but he was only like 5 foot tall. He was just freaking like a wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, that poor dude, and he was a big dude too. He was about your size, and just the guy was drunk, couldn't feel nothing, and I guess he decided to clock his bodyguard. I'm like, of course he got sent back after that, But I ended up at some point talking to him, and I got a picture with him. If I can find it, I'll post that on there. You guys can see it again.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's funny. I worked security after I got out, and I did a show in San Francisco, and they filmed a Netflix special there, and it was Adam Sandler and then all his buddies. So Rob Schneider was there. All the guys, I can't remember off the top of my head, but like all of his friends that usually are like in his movies and stuff like that. They all did a Netflix comedy special. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Just to see them and like you're not hanging out, you're working, but you're like this close to them, while they're talking and you're just like standing there listening. Yeah. I worked a security one time for Jay Leno, and it was just me and him. Really cool story. I'll tell it sometime, but it was really it was a lot of fun. It was just hanging out, just he was working on his bit and stuff like that, and it was just me standing there, and he was like going over his jokes, and he'd like look at me, and I'm like, oh, this is great, like great.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So and this is something you did, but when you were out of the Marine Corps?
Yeah. I worked I worked a lot of private security. After I got out, so I worked a Apple event for
I don't think we ever asked you that. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, we try to focus on more of
on our service.
Yeah. But we can do a thing later.
Get to deviate a little bit,
Yeah,
so
every once in a while. Yeah.
I mean, I could sit there and focus on it because I did 23 years of it. So I try not to do that. I try to get everybody else's feed on stuff. But I mean, I'm throwing stuff out like I could definitely relate to you in terms of going to Korea because, dude, is it? What you were there for how long?
13 months.
Okay, is that not the coldest place on the planet? Because I tell you what, I've been to like 20 different countries. Korea, like the cold there, like chills you to the bone. It's not
just real moist.
Yeah, it's like a really bad winters when they have out there. Mm. I don't know how those people do it, man. It's like, Boise's mild compared, or this Kuna and everything, completely mild. I mean, I can go out to Loma and it won't be as bad as that place. That place is just cold.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't really bother me that much.
Yeah. It's probably because I was in a sleeping bag out there on the ground.
I just think that attests to Rick's toughness over yours.
Oh, okay. That's true. Yeah. That's true.
So, so after Korea, you went to Texas?
Fort Hood, Texas. Yeah.
How was? I've heard mixed reactions of Fort Hood. What was your experience at Fort Hood?
It wasn't too bad. I had a really good friend that we met in AIT in Virginia. We went to Korea. We were in the same company in Korea, but he was stationed at the main company and I was at the detachment. And then when we both went back, we ended up in the same company in Texas. So that was pretty cool. It was okay. I hated the weather. Winter time is 1 week it's 70, the next week it's freezing or snowing.
It's like 29 Palms.
Oh yeah. I never.
Don't remind me of
29 the stumps. I'm not saying that's like the stumps, man. One day it's hot, the next day it's like snowing.
Oh yeah. I never seen it rain so hard in all my life. We was out on a flight line working on the aircraft, and you look up and see these black clouds. Okay, better gather up your stuff. Before we could get off the flight line, it had rained, and there was almost 2 inches of water on the flat flight line, and you're holy crap.
So when you guys were young, when you first got in there, did they make you get things like 100 foot of flight line?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's one of the things they used to do to us. Like when you first get there.
Prop wash.
Yeah.
We'd send some guys out for prop wash.
Okay, so I figured you got to throw that out. Military humor right there.
Yeah.
So when you're new, they'll put you down for things that don't exist.
Yeah.
Like obviously, a flight line doesn't exist. Getting 100 foot of it is almost impossible.
Yeah.
For the infantry, they'll send you out for a box of grid squares. Which, if you don't know what a grid square is, you ever look at a map, the little squares on the map, that's a grid square. So floating grid squares too. I've seen people like, give me a set of floating grid squares. And they're like, going around asking for it.
Exhaust sample.
Yeah. Blinker fluid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people nobody ever fell for blinker fluid that I knew of because it's such a common thing that Like people use out here,
Yeah, but you gotta remember, like the young guys nowadays, man, they fall for it all the time because most of them don't even have cars at that point, or really work on their cars. So it's pretty easy to get them. I mean, back in our day, because we worked on our own cars, absolutely. Like what? Yeah. That's why it didn't really come out until later on that they started using the blinker fluid thing. Yeah. But yeah, that's just funny. Military humor, 100 foot of flight line.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I've been in a similar circumstance. I worked at an airport, and we loaded and unloaded planes.
Okay.
And it would be like that too. It would be like you would hear it, and you'd look off in the distance, and then you'd be like, "Oh, everybody, if you have rain gear, if you brought it out with you, put it on." And then by the time you'd like get ready to put it on, you're drenched.
Yeah. And it really didn't matter because it's usually so hot, you'd be sweating underneath it, and you were just as wet from wearing the rain gear as you would have been without it. But
well, this was in I worked at the Oakland airport in California, and it was one of those like it would be like 55 degrees in the morning, and then you get out there working on the planes at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, whenever the plane landed, and then it would just dump, and then you'd just be like, this is miserable.
Oh, it was that basic training down at Fort Ord. You'd get up in the morning, and the fog was all rolled in, and you couldn't see it, just colder than the devil, and so you're out there with your field jacket on, and by noon you're wishing you could strip down to your shorts, but you're packing all this. It was
Now, where's it? You said that's in California?
Yeah, Fort Ord is.
Yeah, where's that at?
Northern California.
Southern California. It's down in Monterey.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah. I don't know if it's still around.
Oh yeah, it's still there.
Is it still there?
Yeah, and then we got. It was really cool. We got stuck in barracks that were condemned. These barracks were condemned, but they stuck. That's
our whole life.
That's the Marine Corps.
That's all the Marine Corps at one point.
But they were just old wooden barracks, and but they held up while we were there. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure right now. I'm sure. I'm almost positive, but Camp Horno still probably has squad base. Well, no, they actually had some nice barracks there before I left, but they still had their open squad base, and they did that to all the Marines and stuff. They were getting ready to get the commandant came down.
Yeah.
And this was 2010 or 11.
Yeah.
And he walked down. He goes, I remember we were there with the whole group of us walking, and he turned over to Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and he goes, "We haven't got this place yet." And he goes, because they saw the one barracks was done, but most of them weren't finished. Like they were still vetted, renovating most of it.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Yeah, but put that down the list. We'll come back. We gotta get these guys taken care of." So probably by now it's all fixed. But yeah, no, I've been seeing that.
That's the way they were. We're open bays, for the whole platoon was in open bay, and then in Virginia in AIT, the whole platoon or everybody was in big open bays. So.
Yeah.
All right. It's in Marina, California.
Yeah.
All right. Which is Monterey.
Yeah.
Monterey Bay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I've never been out there. I've been out that area. I'm surprised I never saw it.
Yeah.
Huh. Craziness. All right. Yeah. Anything else crazy happen while you were there?
No,
Texas?
No.
Really.
Got married. How was that for being crazy?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got married while I was in Texas, so that was cool.
Tell us about that. How'd you meet? Well, I know your wife. I mean, our viewers don't know your wife, but how'd you meet?
I've known my wife since I was 6 years old.
Oh wow. Jeez.
My dad was a state policeman. We lived in Bliss, and her dad was a reserve officer, a reserve policeman. Mm-hmm. So he used to ride with my dad. So they just the family just got back and forth. And
so it wasn't an arranged marriage or nothing like that?
No. Well, maybe it was. You just didn't know. Yeah.
The parents are like talking like, we gotta get them together. Let's get these two together. It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And you've been married how long now?
46 years in October.
Grief, man, that's longer than I'm alive. At least 1 year. 1 year longer than I've been alive. All right. So.
Just think. See, I could be your dad.
It's a true statement. So, but we're brothers in arms, so it's all good.
There you
it's
go.
All good. We just either way, right?
Yeah. Well, so you said your father was a cop?
Yeah, and my brother and my other brother.
Is anybody else in your family military or just
my dad was in the Navy, and then he was in the Air Force Reserve.
Nice. So it's kind of a family thing.
Yeah, and my grandfather was in the Army, I think, but I'm not real sure because he divorced my grandmother.
No.
Anyway, but I've got uncles and great uncles and stuff that were in the military. You know, I've got some of their stuff and some of their pictures, and so it's kind of cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Is that what was your deciding factor? Was that because your dad joined the military, or was it grandfather, or was it was there any reason
number
for it?
17.
The draft.
Just no, I'm just saying. But did you want to, or just because the draft?
No, I never really thought about it. You know,
Yeah.
and then when you get the draft number, you just kind of go, well, you
you
got to make a decision here.
Right.
You know, what do you want to do? You want to do 2 and
because I mean they give you the option of what service you want to go to, right? Like you could have picked if you wanted to pick.
No,
not at all.
No.
See, I wasn't there, so I
No,
don't know.
they
didn't ask,
they
right?
pull you in, and they say, okay, we need 5 for the Army, we need 3 for the Marines, we need 2 for the Navy, don't need any.
They get a
for
psych
the Air
test.
Force. Yeah.
You get a psych test, and everybody fails the psych test. You're going to the Marines.
Yeah. No, please don't. You know?
Oh.
But no, so I just went down. I don't know why. I just went down, picked the Army. They had helicopter. My dad worked on airplanes when he was in the military because he was in the Navy. So
well, that might have been the same.
and so I thought that was kind of cool. So why not? You know.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
It sounds like you had fun, man. At least
It was. You know, I had a lot more good times than I had bad. You know, there's a lot of guys that have had some crappy times in the military, and I was pretty fortunate. I was surrounded most of the time by some pretty good people, and I had my platoon sergeants and stuff like that were all really good. When I was in Fort Hood, my platoon sergeant, assistant platoon sergeant, they grabbed me and my best friend, and we were color guard for the company and battalion. You know, so man, what a gig!
Yeah.
You know, you get to march around in chrome hats and you know, carry a flag, and you get a lot of time off to go practice. So that was pretty cool. You know,
That's awesome.
I got a picture of that. I'll bring it and show it to you.
Absolutely. We can post it as an afterthought for this.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely got to find. Now I've got to look through my plethora of pictures to find that Rob Schneider picture. But it's a cool picture. I actually I had a sweater on and I'm standing there and we're kind of hanging out, and I remember it was taken on a 35mm camera. So it had like the date at the bottom. I had my camera, so I brought my camera when I was out there way back in the day. The camera was actually, I found it's sitting in a box out there. Mm-hmm. So I still have that camera.
Is that kind of like the camera he was looking for in the closet?
No. That was actually a video camera that uses tapes. So it's a little old, but hey, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, you know, back in the day, you just...
you took pictures of everything, you know. I guess, you know,
there's... And it's just crazy, because when, like, someone had taken a picture one time, it was back in the 90s, so we're still using the cameras, and took a picture of like this whole platoon, and I'm like, and tagged me in it, and I'm sitting there like looking, I'm like, oh crap, that is me, you know, because we just got done doing this like jungle course, and I was like, oh man, that was way back in like, you know, a long time ago. But yeah.
When speaking of cameras, when I was in Iraq, I bought a bunch of disposable cameras.
Yep.
And I just brought them with me because I was like, what are the odds I'm gonna have a chance to like charge know, a camera? So all my pictures from Iraq are all disposable camera pictures. Yeah.
So all my videos I shot with a digital, like the old digital camera.
Yeah.
I had with me, and I was trying to just get everything, but you know, doing the videos and pictures and stuff were just like, but probably about halfway through the Battle Fallujah, my camera was completely dead. I had no way of charging it.
A lot of the videos that I have from Iraq were a buddy of mine's. He brought some old dirt, like kind of like your camera you showed us, but like the 1990s model.
Oh yeah.
Like it's bigger and bulky and.
These are one of those ones you have to hold, like you hold it up, and it's like the big giant thing.
No. Oh. It's one of the ones that you put in your hand, but it's like this big.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
it's the same thing as that.
Yeah.
I thought you remember back in the way back.
Oh yeah.
Like ones that are like this big and
like the TV studio.
Yeah, you might as well studio camera.
Yeah.
You know, but it was actually just
a video camera. Well, they had a VCR tape.
Yes, VCR. Hey, I just got rid of those out of my office. I'm just gonna let you know I work. So for those of you who don't know, I am the VFW quartermaster for Idaho.
Yeah, the state.
And for the state. Yeah. So when you go in there, at one point there was like these 2 rows of all the VFW videos for years, going back to like 2000.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, do we have a VHS player? And they're like, nope. I'm like, all right, let's get rid of these. So I started cleaning it out, and I kept putting them in storage and stuff. But man, we still have VHS tapes.
Well,
that should tell you something right there.
The video from the camera was on the tapes, the ones that are a little bit bigger than cassette tapes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 8 millimeters.
Yeah,
8 millimeters.
yes.
Yeah. And so I have that camera.
You still have it?
I have, yeah. Well,
nice.
my buddy passed away, and I had his camera because I was taking the videos off of it, and
Nice.
he passed away while I had it, so I still have it. But it's those kind of things that like you don't think about,
Yeah.
like oh, I'm gonna bring a camera. Well, where am I gonna charge it? So I was like, just buy like a dozen disposable cameras, and I think when I left Iraq, I think I only had 2. The rest were like destroyed, or I lost them, or some were run over by a Humvee.
So, I mean, they're not very waterproof either, so it's just like one of those really hard to keep, and unless you got that type of camera, but and then that was expensive.
Well, I didn't have that type of money.
Oh, dude, we're enlisted guys, man.
Yeah.
I don't think we have much money in that. So after anything you else you want to add to the Fort Ord thing, or just
no? It was it was basic training.
Right.
Just like everybody else's basic training. Well, not like the Marines' basic training. They're crazy.
Yeah, that's, I don't think
they're crazy.
We're all a little
crazy.
different.
We did our thing, and everybody took off, and didn't see anybody from there after that.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of took off and went different directions.
So what was your most memorable moment? Like
your best moment.
This time, your best, your best moment, So like, if you think back and you're like, this moment was the best time frame, like.
What's the most epic thing I did?
Yeah. What's the best thing that you look back and it automatically makes you happy?
Getting out.
Getting your DD214.
Oh yeah, that was always nice.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. I don't know. There really wasn't anything really bad. I think the whole thing contributed to what I am today.
Yeah.
And I'm really thankful for what it helped me, my work ethic. It helped me learn how to be a little more tolerant of some people, and there isn't really just any best time. The older I get, the more I look. You look back on it and you go, that was kind of fun. I kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're kind of going like. Mine was just basically driving around on a golf cart in Iraq with some of my buddies when we were stressed out. After all this, bullshit happened. We went back and there was basically a beat up Gator, a golf cart, and we just drove it around and we're dancing and playing music, and one guy hit a freezer. Like, that was my best moment because that was the moment where stress just like washed away.
Oh yeah, we did a deal like when I was in the AIT in Virginia. I was buddies with a guy from California. His name was Bob Dudero. Well, he was married and his wife wasn't there, but anyway, we got to Virginia about a month after they'd had this huge flood. Well, this Bob Dudero, he decides he needs a car, so he goes and finds this Corvair that had been flooded, but it run, but the starter didn't work. So you had to push it to start it. So anyway, we kind of drive around it, and then we decided, well, shit, we got to have music. So we found an 8-track tape player, but of course we didn't have money for speakers, but we had money for headphones. So we put 2 headphone jacks in it. We drive around in the Corvair and have headphones on. Of course, you go through in Virginia. There's lots of tunnels, here. Big thing was you drive through in the Corvair, get going real fast, and then you turn the key off, let off on the gas, and let it run for a minute, and then you turn the key back on it, and backfire and just sound like some big explosion, But we do stuff like that and go up and just cruise around at night, listening to music and just enjoying ourselves, So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That is pretty epic. That's epic.
That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty epic.
And every once in a while he'd kill it at a stoplight, so you both have to jump out, and go like hell, push it. He'd jump in and dump the clutch on it, and then you both jump in and take off down the road. So.
Nice. I want to see that in heavy traffic. That's going to be fun.
Oh, it happened.
No, I'm sure it did. Because you never know.
Yeah, it was fun. So.
That's pretty awesome.
I think everybody has a friend that at one point in time has like a junkie car.
That friend.
That friend. Yeah. I had a friend who he wanted to put a black light in his car. I don't know why. We were in high school, so that's probably why. So what he did is he spray painted the inside of his car white, and then so when he got a black light, it would like shine. But he would turn it on, and we'd be like driving, and I was like, I can't see, and he was like, I can't either. Like man, you know, like
that's funny.
Yeah, and it was great because there were the three of us. We're all relatively the same size. You know, my buddy was driving. Brandon was probably 6 foot. Okay. And my buddy Mac is roughly about the same size as me. I'm just like stockier, but we're pretty about the same size. You know, 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". And one of the things that we used to do is when we would drive through different towns in California. My buddy Brandon, his sister had a Aqua CD. I don't know if you know who Aqua is.
Oh dear Lord.
So
Barbie Girl.
Yeah, so we used to play this song called Barbie Girl.
Oh God.
In the car, we'd roll the windows down, turn up the speakers, and just like drive through town, and you see these big old 4 guys just rocking out in the car to this Barbie Girl song. But
right.
Yeah, everybody's got that friend who's got that like jalopy.
Well, I had one guy who, and I'll shout out again. I'll have to tag you in this now. I believe it's Michael Flacker. I have him on Facebook. I'll have to tag him in it. But he had a nice car, and when we're coming back from deployment, I bought a truck, a Ford Ranger XLT, just a little basic truck, but it was a stick. And I never drove a stick before. And he was like, well, and he was part of the Aspire team and stuff, so he was like, all right, I'll help you out, so he taught me how to, and I'm in his car doing the jumping thing while I'm trying to get stuck on a hill, and it was so like, it was nerve-wracking trying to learn how to, drive it, and he had a nice, decent car. I felt kind of bad, but he was a good dude, man. He taught me how to drive a stick, and of course, what do I drive now? I drive nothing but stick now. I won't touch an automatic unless it's my wife's, vehicle, but yeah, shout out to him, because he took his time to get out there and teach me this.
So you sound like you have great friends. My buddy Mac again. This is how I learned how to drive stick. I was at his house, which is kind of like out in the middle of, like out of town. And we were in high school, and I was like, I gotta go home, and he just tossed me his keys and was like, you just drive my car.
That's trusting right there.
And I was like, okay. I was 15, so I sat in the car, and I was like, I could do this. And I looked down, and there's a stick, and I'm just like, I don't know how to do this, So
okay.
I basically, did this all the way. I took back roads all the way there. I parked around the corner from my house, and I left his car there because I was like, my parents can't see me roll up in a car. Like, I don't even have my driver's license, And then I drove it to school, and then I drove it back to his house, and I was like, the next day after school, and I was like, I'm never doing that again.
Right.
And I drove sticks for years, and then when I moved to outside of San Francisco, I tried to drive up the hills of San Francisco, and I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. I can't. You can't drive a stick you can drive a stick in San Francisco, but it is a nightmare.
Oh yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah.
Unless you just have a lot of experience driving sticks.
So I got rid of sticks, and then I just never.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes it a lot easier because you can downshift in the lower gears in an automatic.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's crazy. So what after California? I think you went.
We got of course, went to AIT, went Korea, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, Texas. I'm sorry.
And then
Texas.
we just got married, and we had a good that good friend of mine that was with me in AIT in Korea. In fact, he was my best man at my wedding.
Oh, cool.
And then
that's awesome.
And then a few years ago, he died of brain cancer.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, man. That sucks.
It's rough, yeah.
But we went up. When we was headed to Idaho to get married, we drove it straight 21 hours straight through to get.
Pushing it there.
Yeah. But,
now, were you originally from Idaho?
Oh yeah.
What part?
A little bit higher. I was born in Nampa.
Okay.
Lived in Bliss for several years.
Right.
Then come back up, lived in Middleton for a while, and graduated high school in Otis.
So I got around a little bit. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Awesome, man. No, that's cool to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's grandparents lived in Nampa, so in Caldwell, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
So what happened? What happened after you got out of the army?
Ended up in Wendell and Twin Falls. My wife's a nurse. She went back to work at the hospital, and I went to work for her dad as a mechanic. He had a shop there in the center of town. Worked for him for about 3 years, and then I got hired on with Idaho Power. So
nice.
I stayed there for.
So the guy rode the bike to get the power going.
Yeah.
You were the hamster.
Yeah, pretty much. I run the hamsters. So
You're super.
I was a hamster controller. How's that?
Yeah, the supervisor of hamsters.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sounds like the Marine Corps.
Right.
Supervisor of hamsters.
Supervisor of something.
But yeah, I worked for them for 36 years. So.
Oh wow.
Had a good career.
Yeah. What were some exciting things that happened while you were with the power company? Because I'm sure you saw, I mean, crazy things.
It was, if you guys have ever been down to Swan Falls.
Yes.
Okay, the old power plant that's down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to go. It's kind of cool. But anyway, the old power plant that was down there originally was built in 1901, and then they kind of upgraded it. But it was all everything. That's where I started in '78, and everything was. You either felt things to see if they were hot or running right, or you looked at oil flows and you listened for stuff and you smelled stuff. And a lot of stuff was out in the open. And don't touch that; it'll kill you. Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Trash coming down the river. It was all with a 10-foot long fork pulling it out of the river by hand.
Wow.
And it was tough work, but it was fun. At that time, the village was just like an extended family.
Right.
It was kind of cool. They had a truck. We had the truck go to town twice a week to pick up the mail, because mail didn't get delivered out there. It come to the post office.
Yeah.
So they come in, pick up everybody's mail. They brought in grocery lists for everybody. They'd take the grocery lists down and dump them off at the grocery store, and everybody had charge accounts, and he'd pick up all the stuff and bring it back, and then he'd deliver everything. Everybody. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Went from there, went to Brownlee. Up there when they were finishing up the 5th unit, and that's a long time ago. But that was the biggest unit Idaho Power had as far as hydro units go. It's pretty big. So I was there for the startup a bit, and was there for 6 years. And then went to Hagerman Valley and worked around down there. A lot of people you work with one place and you'll end up working with them another. They just kind of shifted back and forth and around. A lot of good people, and we ended up back down to Swan Falls. Was down there for construction of the new power plant, and that was kind of neat see it from the ground up. That was kind of fun.
Right. And during the time you had your family, so you had your wife. How many kids did you guys have?
3. Got 3 boys. Yeah.
Oh wow. How old are they now?
Oh my God, Eric's 40. Let's see, it's 44.
44.
Ryan,
Good caliber. Good caliber.
Huh?
Good caliber.
Yeah. Ryan, the middle son, is 42, and Adam's 37.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Well, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Success.
Yeah.
I'm
getting old.
You guys are all out now.
Yeah. You'll see that it doesn't work that way for some reason.
Right. It's hard to get them to launch sometimes, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
So.
They went to schools and different. They had some long bus rides, a couple places. Canyon, they had an hour bus ride down Swan Falls, 45 minutes to get to here.
Yeah. So you moved around a lot in Idaho.
Yeah.
What was the most beautiful place when you were like, you woke up in the morning and you were like, this is great.
My cabin.
Oh,
Yeah, he's got a cabin. Yeah, he's got a cabin. Yeah, I think you were saying prior to us doing this actual interview, he was telling me he just got back from his cabin. He literally just got back and then came out here to do this. So awesome for us. I mean, you're willing to come out and do this after having a relaxing time out at his.
Yeah. The wife and I split firewood. How's that for relaxing time?
Well, we already know she did all the work.
Yeah.
Come on, Rick, you ain't gonna lie to us.
Yeah, she's supervising hamsters, right?
Right.
Yeah,
He's out there supervising her. Let's go cut that wood.
Yeah.
All right, make sure she doesn't watch this. Make sure she doesn't watch this.
Yeah.
She'll probably come after me.
You just stand back, keep your mouth shut, do your job.
Right? Yeah, sure. True that.
But
that's great.
No, Brownlee was pretty neat, and the family all enjoyed it up there. There isn't really any scenery. You look out in the morning and not quite half a mile away, there's the other side of the canyon. You never see a sunrise, you never see a sunset. But there was some, we had some good times down there, good fishing. The kids learned to water ski. Camping wasn't very far away. You go out and go camping. Hunting was right there. It was a nice place.
Nice.
The people were nice. So, but everywhere's different. Just like a different town.
Right.
And Hagerman Valley people had their own things to do. So. But we had her in. Cheryl's folks lived in Wendell, wasn't very far away. So then the kids got to play sports and things like that. Summer sports. So that was kind of fun. You could go watch them. So.
And speaking of sports, so this gentleman right here is one of the starters of the junior shooting program out here in Kuna, Idaho. He actually recruited me to come help him out, and as well with Gary, which.
And then Danny showed up.
And then
we got good help.
So we're still continuing to do it, which is pretty. It's a great program. You're getting kids out there to become learning the Olympic.
Competition style shooting. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So
it's been great so far.
Yeah, it really has. It's fun to watch the kids. You look back on some of their, even just first of the year scores, targets to the end of the year targets. You know.
And to put a shout out to, I don't think I have him on Facebook or nothing like that. I can't really tag him, but Cody Merrick.
Oh yeah.
Actually shot #1 in the state of Idaho from our post, which
the American Legion post.
The American Legion, which was pretty amazing for 13, 14-year-old kid getting out there competing against the whole state and actually taking it. So it was a shock to us. I think it's our second year doing this, so it was pretty fun. I think that. What started that whole program? I'm just curious.
It was Gary Geyer.
Okay.
Him and Stan Lupke.
Yeah.
Of course, Stan's been doing junior shooting for years, and he talked Gary into wanting to start a shooting club. So Gary come down to the American Legion and said, "Hey, if we can you guys foot the bill to start us? We'll start one, do it sponsored by the American Legion post," and they agreed to it. So they bought some of the first rifles and equipment, and we got some loaners and different stuff, and that's what we started out with.
Definitely started with some loaners, and I got to tell you that their first year was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Some of them cylinders were just.
Oh yeah.
I think they literally was like, "Oh yeah, we got some loaners for you. Hey, go grab those 2 really bad rifles in the back." And then next thing you know, we're they're blowing out cylinders in the middle of the firing line and stuff. It's pretty funny actually, but at the same time,
it's exasperating. You're trying to get kids to do stuff and stuff. It just like anything starting out, it's got its drawbacks, and we had our growing pains. But this last year was better, and this year's going to even be better. We've got all new rifles this year, and so we
all-star crew and kids.
I have to agree. This next year's going to be great. You added a great coach last year, so
right.
You only room to improvement. This year. Shout out to myself.
Shout out to him.
You're in trouble. You haven't got shoes on. It's getting pretty deep in here already.
Lucky I can swim. I can swim though. We'll be all right. So I am amphibious.
There's not much more room for my ego in here. So.
That's why I picked a small room. I didn't want our egos to bulk out the walls and the door. What else have you besides the we know you're the president of the American Legion, and then also the shooting program. What other? I think you just recently joined the VFW on too, right?
I joined the VFW.
And then anything else that you do in terms of those organizations? Or?
Not organizations. No. I'd be dead if I joined something else. You've got what? You're doing what? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the wife. Yeah, I remember the wife when you joined the VFW, man. She about blew a gasket on you.
Yeah.
So
you've got to go where, what week, and do what this weekend? You know.
Right.
Okay. Whatever. You know, but you can only do it for so long. You know, and then move on. Hopefully, we can get some younger guys, you know, like you guys, you know, into carrying on.
I think it's the reason why we're doing this. I think a lot of it, we want to show that there's been a lot of apprehension between our younger generations of veterans in general, just not really joining, and not really understanding what these organizations do. In terms of how they go to bat for them, and realistically, the VFW is just a organization, but it's important to have the number of members because that's how we get represented in Congress. I'm pretty sure it's the same with the
American Legion. And both organizations have a lot of programs out there, you know, and there's a lot of them I'm not aware of, but there's a lot of programs out there to help the veterans, you know, if they need help, you know.
Right, and organizations provide that. I think I saw us quartermaster last year for our post, and it was over half our money went back to the community.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to veterans, like the food banks and other stuff, and hospitals, and you name it. These organizations are just, I think it's awesome that they go out and want to help the community, not just veterans.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's a great thing that they do out there. It's nice to be able to talk to other members out there that we're doing stuff, and I guess at the state level it's awesome for me because I can actually see every post and what they're doing. And you know, because there's 48 posts I get to monitor, you know, and
nice.
and then you go like, what are you guys doing, you know, and so just knowing that they do great jobs trying to keep the communities and trying to keep abreast. But again, going back, it's when you're looking at, man, we got a lot of these old members, they can't even use computers, some of them, because they're still kind of, they just never got really into it. Nothing against them, but it'd be nice, you know, you got younger guys like us to get out there and we got, when you see we're sitting here with computers, to get them to kind of come in so we can update a lot of the stuff going on. I mean, we got to get away from carbon copy and stuff, guys.
Oh yeah, it's you know, and the two organizations are both, you know, veteran oriented and want to help the vets, but they both kind of do different things. You know, like you were saying, you guys donated money to the food banks and different stuff like that. Well, then the Legion kind of goes a different direction. You know, they do Legion baseball, and we've got the junior shooter program. You know, they've got boys state, they've got girls. The Legion Auxiliary has girls state, and they also have different programs. You know, but they're all out for the community and to help the community grow, help kids grow up. You know, and try to teach them the way things really are. You know.
Well, that's kind of like when I came up with this idea and I pitched it to you and I pitched it to Will about doing this as far as like podcasts and like streaming.
It's funny because we had already, like, I was like, I already had this idea too.
Yeah.
It was kind of great because but it was nice that there was other people out there that brought these ideas to light, and now we're like trying to do this. We're still trying to take off. So share this as much as possible if you can, because you know, the more we get out there, we have people lined up, and you know, we want to hear everybody's stories and stuff like that. But we got also veterans organizations, businesses that we also want to recognize out there.
Exactly.
We've already got them in contact with a lot of these places. We just want to make sure that the more this gets out, people start to know about these different veterans businesses out there. You know, it's going to help them out. You know, we want to take care of our brothers and sisters out there too. Yeah. So, and then we also want to know their story. You know, because I kind of enjoy sitting back. Rick's story is pretty awesome. I mean, you know, being in that time, I can't even imagine. My father was Vietnam also. You met my father, right?
Pardon?
You met my father, right?
No, I've just seen.
Eventually, I'll have to bring him out to meet some of our guys out here. But you know, just same era. You know, and if it wasn't for him getting shot in Vietnam, and then coming home because it was, you know, he actually got a head wound from Vietnam. If it wasn't for that and him surviving, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
You know, so when you look at that and that time frame and stuff, pretty crazy times when you're talking about, especially draft. I mean, that's just wild in itself. I can't fathom that in my head. Like saying, guess what? your butt's going to war, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, you don't
lottery ticket, and you're like,
yeah, pretty much. You know, you either win or lose, or
right? Yeah, and then, and there's, so no, I think it's pretty amazing story you got going there.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks. Yeah, I have nothing to complain about.
Right?
And it really doesn't do you any good. You just take her day by day and go on.
Right. Anything else you want to share, or like anything else you want to throw out there, shout outs or anything?
No, not really.
He wants to shout out his wife. All right, the best thing ever for him. Talks about you all the time. I just want to make sure we put that on there so that she doesn't drive over to my house and and hurt us.
She's a driving force. That's true.
Our wives are all like that. Man. They're great. Our wives, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't function.
If it wasn't for my wife, we wouldn't get a bunch of the stuff done that we. And she's a real trooper as far as, when we get to doing like the awards assemblies or awards dinners and different things like that. Oh man, they're right there.
Yep.
They gotta and helping us out whenever things kind of going to crap. Well, they're right there to kick in and make sure that it's a success. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
No, it's been fun meeting a lot of these guys that are older than me, which is hard to believe, but that
that's not hard to believe. It's not hard to believe that people older than you.
Listen to their stories.
Absolutely.
we've got some guys in the league.
Except for Gary.
Yeah.
All right, Gary.
Gary. Yeah. Whatever.
No, I'm kidding. Gary's a good dude. I'm just, he's one of our Navy brothers.
Yeah.
He's good people.
Uber.
He's our Uber
guy.
driver.
Yeah.
So.
But there's a couple guys that are they're really fun to talk to about stories. That and you're just going wow. And I've got friends that one of them was a Marine and he was in Vietnam and
I just thought about me at first and then he just stopped. Yeah. I'm like, oh, never mind, I wasn't there.
But and somebody had posted on Facebook something about the guys when they come back from Vietnam and the stuff they went through and he was telling me some of the stuff they've gone through or they tell them, God, don't wear your uniform, be careful, and it's the pits that they were treated like that. It really is, so.
Yeah, it's terrible. That was terrible. Yeah, very politically motivated back then, and and hopefully, the great part about it is that even though all that suffering, at least at this point they're finally starting to.
Yeah.
At least society in itself is starting to give a lot of those vets more credit. Now, is it perfect? No, not. I mean, not by far. We can never, even I can't ever go to that point with these Vietnam vets, and I can thank them for their service as much as I want to, but I can never fathom what these guys had to endure with coming back.
But every war is different. Every war has its differences. What you know as well as I do. The difference, of course, I wasn't in any of them, but just talking to guys, and when I was in Korea, there was 4 of us in a bay together, and one of the guys was in the bay he just got out of Vietnam. He was quite a bit older than I, but you'd wake up in the middle of the night and he'd be sitting there on the edge of his bunk smoking a cigarette, and you go, "What are you doing?" "I'm just having a cigarette. I'm okay. And you're going, and he was a motor pool sergeant, and so he run convoys and stuff, and he talks some nasty shit, guys getting rocketed through the rockets in the cabs and stuff like, and you go, gosh damn, but and they didn't have the help then that you guys have got now.
Yeah. I don't know if it's very successful, but I think that
and they need good, and there needs to be more help out there for the guys that need it. So.
And I would challenge people to, because unfortunately the help that they have out there is not. When you're talking PTSD, it's very hard to find someone you can trust, because for us vets to talk about our I still don't like to. I mean, I'll talk with other vets, but. I tried to share some of the stuff I was going on with a VA counselor. I had knew nothing about combat. Was someone from they had a degree and all that. And again, it does not translate when you're talking. They're sitting there like, oh my god, just in shock of what I'm trying to say, of all the stuff that I've experienced. And at the end of it, it's like, well, I can't really help you. Like, oh, well, thanks for listening for me for nothing, because that didn't help me at all.
Yeah.
I mean, but when I talk to a vet, this is the reason why I've tried to stay away from alcohol as much as possible, because I found that doesn't help when I'm talking this stuff out. But when you vent to a vet, you know they understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
you know,
to
so
a certain degree.
like because we've one way or the other we have that the bond one way or the other. We've all been to some type of basic training. We've been in the military. We know how it works. You know, for me, for example, if I talk to Rick, I can understand if he was in a combat environment. You know, you understand that because of Iraq. So that right there is kind of like we can share that and we can understand it. So empathy wise, we understand. Now, someone who's never had that cannot give the empathy that's necessary to help that person.
Yeah.
Which is probably the hardest thing for people with PTSD, because what they're doing is, when you talk about your stuff, is you're making them relive that. That's probably why your guy was sitting on the bunk.
Yeah.
He's reliving his stuff, and you know, he obviously doesn't want to talk about that. But I mean, when you get to nowadays, you know, the last person I want to talk to is somebody who can't really do anything for me.
Yeah, understand.
Or be empathetic about it.
And I feel that, you know, I'm always there to listen. I don't care who it's to. I'm always open to listen.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, but I'll listen.
Yeah.
You know, I'll always listen. So
Right. But we can be empathetic. You know,
Yeah.
that's why I said I challenge it. If you have that in your heart, man, to help other veterans out there that are suffering through this kind of stuff, dude, please get your degree and be that guy that's there for these guys, because that's what makes this work. If it's someone you don't know, you can't trust, they don't have any idea what you've been through, then that makes it hard for us to relate to that person.
Well, I mean, if anybody out there needs that type of help, I mean, there are a lot of numbers you can call.
Absolutely.
But feel free to reach out to us. Send us, direct message us on YouTube or on Twitch. Send us a message. You know, I have no problem sitting and listening.
Yeah.
And just, you know, like, if you just need somebody to talk to.
Oh, yeah. Anytime, man. If anybody, any brother, I don't care what service you are.
Yeah.
No, it don't make any difference.
It doesn't. You know, and like I said, I can empathize with a lot. I think that's what helped me make it through this point. I mean, I think we're definitely going to do we're doing an interview, obviously. We kind of got a little bit off track. But we're definitely going to do one on PTSD. We've got some people we want to bring in. We talked to Matt on our last interview. He actually works at the VA, so he might be one to bring in into our ones that we do for PTSD. So I think he would be a good one.
I mean, if Johnny can point us in the right direction.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Somebody some sort of specialist, you know.
Yeah. And we'll have that person sit and we can sit there and talk, and hopefully we can, I think it might help to alleviate some of the fears of being able to come out and actually talk.
Yeah.
Most veterans don't want to come out because, again, you know, that trust issue. We're talking that, so we'll definitely have to do a segment alone on just that alone. But I don't want to take away from your thing. But I can say I can empathize. I understand from you guys smoking on a bunk, you know.
Yeah.
And probably been there myself, with the exception of the smoking part. I'm lucky enough. The only time I smoked was in Iraq.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I kicked the habit. I smoked for like a decade.
Wow.
Yeah. It's great. I didn't start smoking until I joined the Marine Corps.
I can understand why.
So you talked about hunting, fishing.
Yeah.
What's your go-to hobby? Like, if you're like, I can go do this right now, you would be doing
woodworking.
Woodworking?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
What kind of stuff do you?
I got a lathe, a wood lathe out in the shop, and it's just kind of one of those things where you can go out and put a piece of wood in, and you've got the radio on, and then all of a sudden you're just doing something, and you're not really thinking about anything else. You're just.
That's awesome.
I gotta work with my hands. You know, I gotta keep busy. As my wife will attend, you know, let's say, my God, he never sits still. You know, well, I don't. You know, I do. I like to keep busy because there's only so long a time that you're going to be able to keep busy. So
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I enjoy woodwork. I like to work on cars too. You know, but right now it's woodworking because I can go out during the middle of the winter. My shop's warm, and I can go out. I got my wife doing it too, so that works out all right. So.
All right.
What's the coolest thing you made with woodworking?
I don't know. I do some. I make bowls, different bowls and stuff like that, and I make some cutting boards and some cheese cutters and just odds and ends, just whatever.
Maybe we'll have to do some like veteran type hobbies because I started blacksmithing for the same type of reason.
Yeah, that's neat.
Just because you can go out in your shop and make something.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have to do some sort of like.
Oh, I definitely I think I
have some ideas, and we'll talk offline about that. But
well, I definitely want to do for the PTSD thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that would. You definitely have to have good coping.
Yeah.
For as a vet, and I would definitely. I even put a video together. If you guys want to see? I've got all kinds of coping mechanisms.
Yeah, I've got some ideas that we'll talk about.
And you see a lot of guys do fly fishing. They'll take a bunch up and go fly fishing, and that is just rhythm and stuff like that. But right now, and I like to hunt too. But I go up my cabin and I can go up behind the cabin and I don't really care whether I pull the trigger. Hell, all the work begins after you pull the trigger.
Exactly. Right. All the hard work begins.
Yeah. But I can just go up there and sit down and listen and watch and enjoy.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like
so is there anything else that you want to plug?
No, not really. Just I'd like both groups, VFW and the Legion, both to get some younger guys in. We can sure use them because. It's like you guys in this idea. I was all for it. Will called me up and he said, "Well, we're thinking about doing that." Well, I think it's great. Right. Because we could, we can reach some younger people and maybe get some more people in.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because Will and Danny are like our younger guys. I was the youngest guy until these two showed up.
I'm the youngest guy by 6 or 7 years.
On Will?
On both sides, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe Will's. I don't know how old he was.
I mean, how old is he in the Air Force year?
Will joined. Will joined the Air Force when I was like a freshman in high school. So he's at least 4 years older than me.
Yeah,
at least 4 or 5 years older than me. So
that makes sense.
So I'm the youngest guy by 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's cool.
When Robert joined the Legion, he was the youngest. Well, when I joined,
then you had Andrew come in after.
Well, they had Bonnie and Donine and Danny were younger than me, but
Right. I'm just talking about me.
Yeah, and then when you came in, you were young.
And then Andrew came in after that. So
Andrew's probably got the youngest one now. So.
Yeah, which is fine with me. I'm cool with that. Yeah. So it's one of those weird, awkward things. You're like, oh, I might, and I'm already old as is. I mean, I'm not exactly spring chicken here. Yeah. But no, I mean, thanks for coming in, man.
Oh, sure. So thanks for having me. It's great working with both you guys. And the stuff we do. You've been enjoyable to work with, both of them. So
awesome.
That's cool. I enjoy it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So we get props. So hey, make sure that's recorded. I want to make sure.
Yes, we're on recording. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. We emphasize that. But no, it's cool that you can come in. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of. We're just trying to get through most of this stuff in terms of interviews, and after that, I think we've got a lot of segments that me and Danny have talked about doing a lot of segments. We already kind of. I think gave one away, which was the PTSD thing. That was one thing, and I think we also want to interview some other people. Steve Exene, he does the Ride for 22. We're actually going to have him come out and do an interview. I want to hear his story. I mean, he was in for like 4 years, but Marine Corps, and then I want to know what he did.
That's like an eternity.
Oh yeah, but you know
4
what?
Years is eternity.
It is eternity, but you know what though? He started that whole program with the Ride for 22, and it's huge. It's in his 5th or 6th year. So he'd be good to have come in, and then also. Well,
we've got other things.
Oh yeah.
Lined up. We don't want to give too much.
But I mean, that's one of the ones. I mean, just kind of give you a plug in there, of what's coming down the pipe. Yeah. I mean, we definitely don't want to just keep thinking that we're just gonna sit here and talk veteran stories this whole time because we don't want to bore you guys too much. I mean, we enjoy it. I'll listen to him talk all day on this stuff. But at the same time, we don't want to bore you all at the same time. Just hearing veteran stories. So we will be changing stuff up a little bit.
Yeah. I've got one for you. You can interview. Have you ever heard of Chive members?
No.
Really?
No.
Chive, yeah.
Like onions?
No.
Oh, okay. Because chive is an onion, right?
Yeah, chive.
Okay, I got you.
Chive is a group started by Bill Murray.
Okay.
And they're a nonprofit organization, and they just help people. Different things, and they're big on Ride for 22. They
Yeah.
help big on that. And
we'll have to
they
look into that.
yeah, there's
well, the Legion Riders. We got to have all kinds
Oh,
of
yeah,
people to talk
yeah,
to.
you
We
know,
talk to
they're-
a lot of people out there.
but these guys are they're nationwide.
Yeah.
They're a little Cupid's Undie Run. That's one of the things they do in Boise, you know. But
Yeah.
they'll pick a thing and raise money and give them to them. I don't know whether you guys seen the little guy on the news that he's got a brain tumor and he wanted to restore a car. And anyway,
I remember seeing something on that.
they gave him some money and
Do you want to pause real quick? That way I can-
sure.
Wait,
Or you want to do everything else audio?
yeah, we'll finish it.
Okay.
But anyway, they raise money and give him money, you know. So it's just
Yeah.
But they're a pretty good group.
Yeah.
You know,
Sounds cool.
they're a little. They like to drink and party, but they also like to give
Get the job
and
done.
raise money.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Well,
kind of a
partying
neat
and,
thing.
and business. So
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we appreciate you coming out, and
Well, thanks for having me.
yeah. So check out. You know, we're gonna do a video on the junior shooters. We already mentioned earlier, so we'll go ahead and we'll check that out later, and you know we'll have Rick will be back to talk about that too while we're doing it. But you know, we want to also thank everybody for all your support. It's kind of like it's almost overwhelming how many like people leave comments and watch these videos. You know, like we appreciate all the support, and
Absolutely.
yeah, we're very grateful for it. So, but yeah, I mean, until next time, you know, stay safe, and you know, we'll see you in the next video.
Have a good one.
Thanks.